Robert Woods. They said they don't see the Rams potentially needing him if OBJ were to return to LA. Is he someone that would potentially interest?
Is he a free agent?
No, I think he has multiple years left on his deal. He just signed his deal.
Let me check his
2 years ago, I think it was. It was a nice deal. He got paid good money. But he's also very productive in terms of, you see the productivity with him and the consistency as well, man. But he got a nice deal, bro.
29. Oh, man. He
got a nice deal, bro. That's what I'm saying, man.
I'm looking at the dead cap on the deal, too. All right, so here's the deal. 4 years, $65 million. So around $16 million
this is year 3? Is this year 3 on the deal, too? Like I said, they paid him very nice.
No, this was year 2.
So it would be going up on year 3. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, this is coming up on the 3rd year. So, like...
Yeah, you're right.
The productivity is there. He's a 1,000-yard receiver, 100 reception dude. Like, the productivity is there. You see the consistency with him as well. And realistically, outside of this season, I mean, this is the first time he really got, like, hurt like that. Usually he's way more, available to the team and stuff like that, even dating back to his time in Buffalo.
Do you know what his injury is?
He had an ACL, but it was early in the season. It was right before, it was the same week they traded for Odell.
29, so he's going to be 30.
So we talked about Godwin as a potential guy, and we know Godwin money-wise probably be the same, but Godwin's ACL injury was, I think,
Godwin's will be a new deal.
It would be a new deal, right? Whereas this, we're just taking on his current deal.
Man, so yeah, we'd be trading for him.
Yeah. Woods is definitely dope, though.
That sucks, though. We'd have to give up stuff for him. Maybe not.
Woods is dope, though, bro. Woods is a dope receiver, bro.
Might be one to get out of the contract.
Yeah.
So they could sign Odell. So he actually might be getting traded for cheap. Mm-hmm. I'm saying like 3rd or 4th round pick because you got to pay him a lot.
Yeah.
They got what they probably wanted out of him in the early part of it, age 28, 29.
Because he's been there for, 4 or 5 seasons now? Like I said, because he was in Buffalo from, was it 13 last year? So we were there in 13 to 16. Maybe it was 16 or was it 15? 16, I think it was. Then he went out there to LA. So you look at the stats, though. The stats are there. I mean, he's very, very guy. Not at all. Like I'm gonna catch this rock. I'm getting my yardage. He's gonna run. Like, route running is elite. You know what I mean? Like, he's gonna get open. And for me, I just think of our quarterback situation. If it's less than ideal, if we go the route of low end quarterback, high end everywhere else, guy like Woods creates separation. A guy like Woods can run every route. A guy like Woods has soft hands in terms of he catches that ball consistently. You don't have to just rely on throwing it up 50-50 jump ball is what I'm alluding to. I mean, I'm not against it, man. I'm definitely not against it, man.
In terms of a technician. So we're not getting a burner.
Oh,
but we're getting a technician, Robert
now
Woods.
The chat has something spicy going on right now that I do think deserves conversation.
Okay.
So not just Robert Woods, they spent the block on one of my other Buffalo teammates, Marquise Goodwin, the burner. Okay. And it's funny because both of those guys came in together. They was both in the same little class up there in Buffalo. But with those guys, because we talked about, right? We said we needed a take a top off the defense guy.
Yeah.
That's the Marquise Goodwin element. But at the same time, we need a guy that can create separation, a guy that can get open, a guy that can win routes. Robert Woods gives us that. Very different in their approaches. Money-wise, I think Goodwin still is on a nice deal too, low-key though, bro.
A big deal.
I don't know how. I don't think it's like crazy big, but it's definitely a nicer deal though.
So he wasn't.
They're saying Godwin. So
Chris Godwin.
Okay, man. Yeah, spell right, bro. Y'all spelling wrong in the chat, man. You spell it wrong in the chat, man. We're gonna look it up, baby.
Well, you're talking about Goodwin. You like that then?
Just the speed element. But
it looks like he's gonna be a free agent too. He wasn't really used by the Bears this year. Only 300 yards for them.
Because he's definitely take the top off the defense guy. Chris Godwin, though, let's check him out.
I would like Godwin probably over Woods just because of the age element where he's at.
Okay.
He's probably like 26 because he's still on his rookie year.
Yeah.
They franchise tagged him before this year.
You're right. So, 25, 26 tops.
But you're right. I guess we'd have to wait a little bit for him to play. Maybe we don't get that rapport built up in training camp.
Whereas Woods is going to be ready. Woods will be ready by camp. I don't know. Because Godwin was later.
What are we looking up with him? You want me to just look up his stats?
Yeah, first I'll look up his stats because he'll be open for the contract. See his stats, and then also when did he have his ACL? Because with both of those guys, like I said, because I know Woods was early. Woods was before the trade deadline.
No, Godwin did play a good portion of the season, 14 games.
Yeah, so that's late in the year. So when you talk about week 14, 15, tearing the ACL, I mean, we even saw the mixed bag of Devin Bush and Zach Banner coming back from the ACL and the various amount of time for those guys tearing their ACLs, and both of them were pretty much, well, one was first game of the season, the other one was midway point of the season, right? So with that, with Godwin, it could easily be a longer time for him to get back.
Stud though, man. 2019 with Jameis at QB, 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns, made a Pro Bowl. And then last year, only played in 12 games, had 840 yards, 7 touchdowns. That would have been over 1,000. Yeah. Extrapolate that over 16 games.
I just don't like the ACL late in the year like that, bro. That's my
he'll be missing
issue.
out.
Like, because he's going to miss OTAs, the mini camp time frame, your best case hope in training camp, and that's still like borderline maybe rushing him, you know?
Because the time frame's early 9 months usually.
Yeah.
So you're getting him. Well, Peterson was around the same time.
Yeah.
He tore his
in terms
ACL.
of like late, but then being ready for week 1.
Season.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we might miss him for a month or so if we signed him.
Whereas
long term though, I like
firsthand. He's ready to go.
You're right.
But different though. Very different receivers though, man.
Right.
Very different.
What about another Penn State one? We're on this receiver stuff.
All right, who else you got, man? Let's go. Who else you got, man?
Allen Robinson.
Yo, they literally just put him in the chat too. They was like, yo, Allen Robinson, check Allen Robinson.
He's a stud. I'd probably have him as the top guy.
I'm also seeing Christian Kirk pop up in here as well. He's another guy. He's on AZ with me.
That's not bad.
Yeah, but he's a smaller receiver though, bro.
Smaller.
Yeah.
Shifty, speedy.
No, shifty and speedy, yes, but I'm saying in the sense of like, I'm just thinking about this quarterback situation.
Yeah, Robinson's like 6'3".
Yeah, and even Woods is like, he still got size on him. Yeah.
Robinson's going to be 29. He's a stud, dude. I just feel like he's probably misused up with the Chicago. He's been wanting out of there for years.
So who, if you had to take if you had to hedge a bet or you had to put money on Allen Robinson or Robert Woods, which one are you thinking?
Between those two, I'll go Robinson.
Okay.
Health, I mean, they're around the same age. I just think Robinson has more upside.
Even though the productivity hasn't equated to what Woods has done, though.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Check it out. Let's see.
Yeah, Robinson's, dude, he had some big years down in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Even up in Chicago, I think
he's had 1,000-yard seasons. This might have been because he had two. Was he had two or 1,000-yard season up there in Chicago already?
He's got two.
Two,
yeah,
okay.
Exactly. Two already. One 1,100, one 1,200, then 1,400 down in Jacksonville. 14 touchdowns there.
What's his past 3 seasons looking like that?
For Robinson?
Yeah.
2 of them were the 1,000-yard years.
That's what I was thinking. This is the down year right here.
Yeah, 2 of them were Trubisky. This was 400 yards. His first year in Chicago, 700, only played in 13 games. So that's, around 900 to 1,000 if that's the full season.
And what was Woods' numbers?
So Woods, let me go to Woods real quick. Yeah, I'd say Robinson.
That's interesting. I want to know who was the more productive player of the two.
Because I think we could get the route runner in Deontay Johnson. We have that. Okay. Even though Woods, I think you're right. In terms of like creating separation, maybe even getting some more stuff over the middle, just like combat catch type of stuff. I think he can maybe deliver that a little bit better. But if we got Deontay, it'd basically be like Robinson taking the place of Claypool, maybe. That's what it would be. We trade Claypool and get someone else in.
Because, I don't mind moving Woods into the slot because he already plays out there in some of that. He does some of the gadget stuff in terms of the jet sweeps, in terms of some of the gritty run blocking stuff. To me, I like him as a higher end version of Juju because I think that he can do some of the same things that Juju does, but he gives you way more receiving ability.
All right, so Woods had 2,000-yard years with the Rams. And outside of that, with the Bills, it was kind of like 500-600. And Rams have started to pick up 700 first year. Yeah, he was hurt a couple games, so that could have been 1,000 yards. 936 in 2020 over 16 games, so that's pretty damn close. Had over 500 this year in 9 games, so that exactly. So it's actually really close. Looks like Robinson's just been injured a little bit more. Let me do the total stats here: 7,035 for Woods, whereas Robinson's total stats 6,440 touchdowns. So more touchdowns. And I think a year or two less, just 1 year less.
Okay.
So close, so really. Close. I mean, it's damn close.
God, dog.
It's damn close, exactly. I would take Robinson. I think I would lean him.
I could dig it.
But would that mean we should trade Claypool if we brought in Robinson? 2 similar guys, whereas Robinson's just the better version of Claypool?
Like, I think Woods could fit with all 3, but then money-wise, I don't know how that plays out like that because you're a year away from paying Deontay, essentially, unless you pay him this offseason.
And this is when Woods' contract gets really bad.
Correct. And then you're still, a year away from paying Claypool because this will be coming up on Claypool's 3rd year. So now in that 4th season when you're going to look to extend him. Well, no. you probably start looking to extend him during his third season, because that fourth year he was a second round pick, so he doesn't have the fifth year option. And they always want to extend guys a year prior to that final season. Yeah.
So after this season,
correct.
Up.
After this season for Chase, Deontay, you will be looking to do an extension with him this year if you can get it done.
I wonder what the market is for both Godwin and Robinson. Godwin's weird because of the ACL. He's going to probably miss first month or so.
Yeah.
That might not be the best fit here if we have a young quarterback. I could see him signing somewhere that already has a veteran guy, and they could kind of wade through the waters in the first month or so.
Especially if you're Robinson, imagine if you're coming out of the situation in Jacksonville where you were still, Blake Bortles was probably your best quarterback you had down there. And then you go to Chicago, you have Trubisky, you have Nick Foles for a little bit, you get Justin Fields for a little bit. Now you're trying to sell him on coming to Pittsburgh, where we're like, hey, it could be Mason, it could be Haskins, it could be somebody we draft. Like, we don't really know. I just could see a scenario where though he might want to come here, it could be the simple case of, bro, I've been playing with average quarterback play my whole career. Let me get on with somebody. Whereas Woods, he could say, man, I've been.
Well, that would be a trade anyway. That wouldn't even be his say.
True. But like, at least with Woods, it's like you could see a scenario where he's like, man, I've had a Goff, but I've also had a Stafford. I've been in Buffalo with some, little mixed bag. So he might not feel the same way or feel as if he has to get paired back up with a guy like that. He might just say, I want to go over there. I like the opportunity. I like the situation.
Yeah, especially if the Rams are trying to re-sign Odell. Then
right. Because that's the part that makes it interesting. And with Woods being hurt, he can't have that recency bias right now. Whereas everything Odell has done in this postseason and is going to continue to do, that is only going to drive his number up. That's only going to drive the feeling that, hey, we need to take care of him. We need to bring him back and we can move on from Woods. And that's part of the business of when a guy gets hurt and another guy comes in and he starts to play like how Odell's been playing of lately. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you can go wrong with any three of those dudes. Yeah. Each have their plus and minuses, I think, for the Steelers.
Now, I heard when you were saying that you would trade Claypool.
That's only if you brought in a dude like Robinson.
But what I was asking is this. At times we've talked about how Claypool, he's limited in the sense of he doesn't really create a ton of separation, doesn't really run a lot of routes. He's more of a 50-50 guy. Now, we know he has big play potential, but tapping into it consistently has proven very, very hard to do. Do you feel that Chase can develop even more so? Yeah. Whereas like when we talk about a guy like Allen, it's like, he's a little bit more of a proven commodity, but not necessarily where we necessarily want him to be right now. But we could just see like, hey, you know what? He's developed a lot more. He's further ahead than where Chase is right now, just as a player. Not necessarily as statistics, but as a player, we think he's a better player right now. Are you willing to risk that though, by bringing in one of these type of guys that we're talking about, if that would mean that we potentially get rid of Chase? Because that's the thing I think of as well. Like, was Chase inconsistent? Sure. Has Chase did he underwhelm this season compared to what we thought he should have done going into the season? Absolutely. But I don't know if I'm ready to just turn that page
on that
after
good contract
seasons,
too. Yeah, you're right.
On a rookie deal. Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of just picking between those receivers and bringing them in, I think that would be the move to make. If you brought in Robinson, you trade Claypool, maybe get another style of receiver that contrasts with Deontay and Robinson. But would I do it? I don't know. Yeah, probably not for all the reasons that you brought up.
But
probably
then I also ask, do we feel like this?
I still think there's untapped stuff with Claypool.
But then my other part of it is, do we feel like this because he's in-house? Like if he was in Cleveland, would we be talking about him as, he could develop? Would we just be saying, that's just a one right? He's a vertical guy. That's all he could do is go vertical, run stops, occasional slant route. Like that's the thing. While I'm, playing this mentality of keep him, trade him, upgrade the position. Like that's some of the things.
No, he still has untapped potential. I think he just disappointed this season for me.
Yeah,
just definitely disappointed. We'll see what he does in his third year.
Yeah, for me, I wouldn't give him one more. I would give him one more year, and then after that, I would start looking into some of the stuff we were talking about. Whether you look to trade him, because
like this receiver market's not anything crazy.
Yeah. Well, the two main guys we were talking about are both coming off ACL injuries on top of that. And there's no guarantee that, as we saw, like I said, with Devin and with Banner, and I bring them up because we had expectations for those guys, but as we saw, it was very different in terms of the results for both of those guys. It's no guarantee, it's no foregone conclusion that either one of these guys that we're referring to can just come in here and they're going to look great right off the week one. So
I think the depth, from what I remember, in terms of the receiver market's a little bit better than the top guys.
Okay.
Now, I wouldn't mind any of the top guys, but still, I think that's where you could get some of the value. From what I remember, at least. I don't want to go over it right now.
Yeah, I'm going to that too.
The thought of, dude, I keep coming back to this now. I keep thinking about this. You piqued my interest. Cordell Patterson, dude. I'm thinking about that.
Bro, he's versatile.
We could get him for like 5'6", and then maybe get like a speedster, like middle tier receiver. Like if we brought in like Emmanuel Sanders for maybe 3-4 as like a third or fourth receiver for us.
You have options.
Combine him with Cordell Patterson. I'd rather do that than just sign a Godwin.
Yeah.
But add some extra guys. I'm assuming that's all if we don't bring back Juju too, of course.
Very true. Interesting though, man. Interesting.